know this location?
So I've been down at Poole since the age of 15, apart from the 10 years, the obligatory 10 years that you spend in London, especially in this business, and moved back down in my, I think I was about 30 when I moved back down again, and I've always, I've grown up in this part of the world, and I've always wanted to get a studio space that was walking distance from home. I didn't want to be on an industrial estate somewhere with a warehouse. It is a glorious setting. We're very lucky living down here at Poole Harbour. So this is the shores of Poole Harbour here in the background, and when the opportunity came in 2020 to get one of the units here, and I jumped at the chance. Absolutely.
And this unit, this is your office for Two Trucks Production.
That's right.
Which I believe is your video content creating company.
Yeah, so
just tell me a little bit about that.
It's something that naturally came out of, because I use a lot of live iMag and Notch in my shows, and I want to put the artist inside content. It became apparent that I needed to have an arm within the company that would specialise in that kind of approach. And there not many people were doing it back in 2020. It was very much driven by Ed and the shows I wanted to put together for Ed, because it's not right for every artist, but it's perfect for Ed.
That's Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons that we developed the company, brought on some really strong creative staff, and using some fabulous software that's available in the business at the moment. So yeah, I love Notch. Love running it on the Disguise servers, so we have all the infrastructure, the servers that we need to be able to experiment, and doing a lot with photogrammetry and Evoke Studios are helping us out with that, and I love 3D on a 2D surface. It's another signature look of my shows, is stuff that looks, it looks like it's popping out of the screen. So I really, we spend a lot of time developing that, and as I say, putting the artist's iMag inside the content. So, a lot of UV mapping where the iMag can move across a screen with the live subject within it, which is another signature look of my shows.
So let's just rewind a little bit and talk about how you first got interested in lighting. What sparks that?
Moving down to St. Peter's in Southbourne, literally I walked into the biggest school theatre in the south of England, and really nobody was running it. It was a couple of lads, and I grabbed it. I grabbed it with both hands, and I really wanted, when I started my A-levels, I wanted to do medicine. I wanted to go back up north and do medicine.
You were going to be a doctor?
I was going to do chemistry, physics, and I was doing chemistry, physics and biology at sixth form, with the intention of going back to Manchester UMIST to do medicine. 2 months of being at this school, I never used to bother going to lessons. I was always in the school theatre, building shows. We're talking about 1982, so it was always about conventional lighting, park hands and profiles and proper old tungsten theatrical lighting, and there was plenty of equipment and old cinema gels and things like that. So I used to love it. I used to love performing as well, but I really got something out of the backstage disciplines, and even the teachers got to understand that was really my passion, because I can remember my head of sixth form signing me into school knowing damn well I was working with his wife down at the Pavilion Theatre in Bournemouth. She was doing costume and I was doing lighting at the Pavilion, and I was supposed to be doing my chemistry exam. That's the way it was. It's great. I went up to London and did a degree in theatre production and design.
And where did you do that?
At Croydon,
right.
At Croydon Arts School, and and then went into the West End. So I'm a proper old West End Wendy from early 20s. That's where I got my grounding. It was never the music industry. It was always theatre.
Actually theatre, yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So that must have been a really rich and meaningful experience for you.
I get a lot of emails from students asking how do you get into the business, and the first thing I say to them is go and do a couple of years apprenticeship in the London's West End, because it's the best grounding for the business. Think of it as like a foundation course. for the wider production industry. And you can choose and find the discipline that you really enjoy, be it sound, be it video, be it lighting, be it staging, be it stage management, costume making. Where do you find the skill set and the people at the top of their career are in London's West End? So I always say to young aspiring students, no, don't just go into the rock and roll industry. Go and find out about the discipline of performance presentation, because theatre is the epitome of that.
And let's just talk a little bit about Ed Sheeran's current tour, because it's the one that everybody's talking about in the industry, and it looks amazing, and you've had some fantastic reviews for it.
Thank you.
So can you just tell us how the design process came together, how this amazing kind of creation on these 6 really elegant masts and nothing in between, how that evolved?
It came out of, I've always thought Ed would be the perfect artist for an in the round show, but it's all very well me saying, Ed, you should play in the round. At the end of the day, the artist has got to want to play in the round. He's got to have the guy that's going to have to play to an audience on 4 sides, and that is a completely different staging discipline for an artist than it is playing end on. So we developed that. The 2015 show was the culmination of the Multiply tour. And then we went to into 2016. I designed the Divide tour, which was again an end-on arena show that developed into an end-on stadium show. And at the end of Divide, which was 2018, he came to me, I think we were in Leeds, and he said, you know what, I think I might be ready to go in the round for the next one. He'd just done 3 years with Divide, and he was already thinking about the next tour. No name for it, he just said, I might be ready to go in the round. Well, I just grabbed it with both hands. I came up with some ideas. I don't like in the round shows where they're supported by legs, so that you have this possible barrier between our artist and his audience. That to me just feels wrong. You know, at some point in the show you're looking at the leg of a roof. No, I don't like that idea. So I said, well, let's do a mushroom, so we have one big column in the middle that supports this mushroom roof. And he said, no, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of somebody being behind me, can't see me. I said, right, so okay, what are we going to do? I said, can you give me 10 to 12 weeks? I've got an idea, but I need to make sure it's doable before I put it in front of you. And I came up with an idea of using a cable net system, which is established as in terms of infrastructure, and seeing if we could tour it. So as simple as that. Can you tour a self-supported cable net system? Never been done before, can we do it? So I went to my old mate Jeremy Lloyd at Wonderworks, who introduced me to Rusty Bartek from Cunniffe, and we sat down for 3 months and did all the tests, the weight loadings, but more importantly, can it work as a touring model? You've got to think about being able to do somewhere between 3 and 4 shows a week, okay, to make it work as a business model, which means the show's got to go up in 2.5, 3 days. It's got to come out in a day, and you move on to the next venue. So automatically you're going to need 2 stages or 2 sets of steel. But can you do it? Can you put it up in 2.5, 3 days? And can you take it out in 1? And after many deliberations and some calculations and some really serious budgets, they said yes, you could do it. We put the design into virtual reality and started to look at the scale of the production in virtual reality, and realised that if Ed was constantly moving, there are no seat kills, which was, it was a real, you know, light bulb moment. This is going to work, because it doesn't just work on a creative level, it works on a business level as well. Very, very expensive show, but if you can, Ed will always sell tickets. The point is that he loves production and he loves spending his money on production. But if we can go to in terms of the business model with a very expensive show and then turn around and say, by the way, there are no seat kills, you really are onto a winner, and that's what we ended up with.
What's he actually like to work with as an artist?
He's the most self-effacing, generous guy you ever wish to meet. Now, I've worked with many artists over the years, some more difficult than others. Ed
we'll just leave it there, shall we?
We'll leave it there. Ed is an absolute dream to work for. I can remember meeting him for the first time when he was about 19 years of age, and he really wasn't that bothered about what went on behind him. He was more interested in his music. And as the years have progressed, so that's, best part of 12 years, he now takes a very active role in how he's staged and how he wants to be staged. But in terms of man himself, he's an absolute pleasure to work with. No airs and graces. What you see is what you get. He's honest and tells you exactly what he's thinking. And yeah, I'm incredibly fortunate to have a client like that on my books.